Hello viewers, welcome you all to MOOC on institutional assessment. We all accept that the world of higher education is changing rapidly, bringing new challenges for the institutions. This creates a great uncertainty for higher education institutions. Uncertainty about the new environment, about the choices available, about appropriate strategies, and about the effectiveness of the responses that education managers ultimately decide. Today, we all believe that quality products or quality services are basically the results of overall quality of the organization. We are now introduced to new quality concepts such as quality assurance, benchmarking, and best practices. So, in this video, we will discuss Institute benchmarking, which is in Unit 6. 2 consecutive videos will be there, and the unit learning outcome is, after attending the video sessions and consulting related e-content and assessment, we will be able to use institute benchmarking for performance improvement. In order to achieve this outcome, one must be able to explain the role of benchmarking in institutional quality assessment, must also be able to identify benchmarking approaches for critical success factors of institute performance, and must be able to establish performance measurement systems for institute benchmarking. What are the topics included in this video? Topic 1 is benchmarking, need, importance and applications, and second is types and approaches of benchmarking. Institute benchmarking is an attempt to deal with the uncertainty of new challenges. It provides policymakers and higher education managers a toolkit to help ensure that their strategic decision-making process is as rational as possible. By definition, benchmark means the observed performance of higher education system to which other higher education systems can compare themselves. Hence, benchmarking is the process of comparing higher education systems. Now, what are the things that can be compared? Benchmark includes policies, practices, and outcomes to be compared. Now, why should we compare? To enable countries to identify strengths as well as weaknesses in their higher education system is the main aim of benchmarking. Benchmarking helps to learn from each other and thereby improve the performance of their higher education systems. 3 kinds of benchmarking used by higher education system performance. Number 1, metric benchmarking. Performance information is presented to identify the strengths and weaknesses within own higher education system and then compare with other countries. The second one is practice benchmarking. Here, information on higher education practices presented to enable the comparison of higher education systems and a better understanding of the reason behind the performance. This approach will identify which practices produce better outcome and help countries share new ideas and practices. Number 3, policy benchmarking. Key driver is the government policy, as the comparison of policies under different systems has the potential to lead to a better understanding of the linkages between policy and outcomes, generating learning and development of new policies for improved performance. Benchmarking requires a rigorous and professional approach from designing the exercise to the clear identifying the processes, then data collection and the implementation of results. It also requires planning, management, commitment and ownership. Now, what are the types of benchmarking? The major types are internal benchmarking, external competitive benchmarking, then external collaborative and best in class. Jackson and Helen in 2000 classified benchmarking types according to referencing processes. 6 different types are there. Number 1, implicit or explicit benchmarking, then independent or collaborative benchmarking. Number 3, internal or external focused benchmarking. Number 4, vertical or horizontal benchmarking, which is focused on the whole process. Then number 5, quantitative and qualitative approach benchmarking. And number 6, input, process, output focused benchmarking. Researchers identified various types of benchmarking based on variety of requirements. Let us now know about approaches to benchmarking. Consortium for Excellence in Higher Education in 2003 identified 7 main approaches. Number 1, strategic benchmarking. Organizations seek to improve their overall performance by focusing on specific strategies or processes. Number 2, performance or competitive benchmarking, where organizations use performance measures to compare themselves against similar organizations. Then number 3, process benchmarking. It focuses on specific operations like inquiry management, enrollment or timetabling, etc. The 4th one is functional and generic benchmarking, which involves partnerships of organizations drawn from different sectors that wish to improve some specific activity or process. Then 5th one is external benchmarking, which is enable the comparison of the organizations, functions and key processes against good practice organizations. The 6th one is internal good practice benchmarking and the 7th one is international benchmarking. Now, mix of all these approaches is the best approach. It should be carried out with a spirit, partnership and collaboration that enable both parties to learn from each other, and thus we consider benchmarking is an important instrument in helping universities or institutions to make higher education fit for the 21st century and to maximize the contribution which higher education institutes make to the societies and economics. Benchmarking techniques can broadly be categorized as number 1, internal benchmarking technique. Here, institutions basically try to learn from other departments and also from sister institutes. Number 2, external benchmarking techniques, where we look outside the institute, where the practices of the own institute can be compared with the external practices. To find the best suited benchmark partner for the institute with target, the benchmarking partner must meet some criteria. Number 1, the identified process sequences to be comparable. Second, the range of problems or challenges also to be comparable. And the third one is the partner must be known as best or best in class. Let us consider the benchmarking process. The process has 4 phases: planning, analysis, integration and action. In the planning phase, preliminary data to be gathered through a questionnaire. Now, questionnaire must be related to the critical success factors so that required information can be obtained. Then, understanding performance gaps and predicting future performance levels done in analysis phase. Integration phase has 2 steps: communicate findings and gain acceptance, and number 2, establish functional goals and implementation plans. Finally, in action, to implement, monitor, measure or compare with the identified needs. It is essential to mention that each benchmark has a structure that includes scoping statement, good practice statement, performance indicators and performance measures. We will discuss this structure with one example in the next video along with performance measurement for benchmarking. Till then, goodbye and thank you.